let's make a few things clear, because we're way too damn polite in year 2011. When Jerry Dias talks about the labor minister, the federal labor minister, Lisa Raitt, who could hear us from her constituency office here today, she is not a labor minister. That's contradictory in terms of the title of her position. If you say labor ministry to me, you would think that she protects the interest of the labor community, the interest of the labor folks that put their sweat and tears into the operations each and every day. What Stephen Harper should do immediately is change that contradiction and tell working people what the federal government really means when it comes to the Minister of Labor, and really what it means in the minister in the interest of corporations, in the interest of corporate interest. So that ministry name should at least change in respect for the labor movement, because Minister of Labor to me means representing the labor movement, not representing corporate interests. And Lisa Raitt and Stephen Harper and those ideologues in Ottawa represent the interests of the corporations, and always have and always will. And it's frustrating for me as a leader in the labor movement to stand with the staff of the union that are here today, with the active local union leadership that are fighting every day for justice in their workplace, both in the public and the private sector, and then see retirees in Local 1451 that they're over their last 35 or 40 years not only built up a reasonable standard of living for themselves through hard-fought negotiations, but won justice for Canadians throughout this country. Local 1451 wasn't just a local union. It was a leading local union. It was a union that fought for its members. It's a union that earned respect and dignity in the workplace. And the employers knocked it down. And this was a workplace for all auto parts workers in this country. When that workplace went to the bargaining table, they led in some way. They led. Every single auto parts company in Canada looked at that local union, looked at the leadership of 1451, and said whatever they achieve at the bargaining table in some way, we can achieve it in our sector to make sure there's equality through the auto parts sector. That's the way it used to work, brothers and sisters, through the power of the union. We never let one workplace undermine another. We let one workplace or two workplaces lead the charge in the auto parts sector, in auto workers, in the public sector, in every sector. Some groups got to lead that charge. And 1451 has led that charge. And they won the right to have good pensions. And they won and earned the right that when they retired, that the corporation would maintain that promise of health care benefits. And let me tell you what bothers me about this. Brothers and sisters, there's not a company in the world, a multinational corporation in the world, won't do what Truss and Coop's doing here today. Think about it. 80 workplaces throughout 60 countries in the world. Global company making money hands over fists. CEOs making money over hands over fists. So they decide to put all of their legacy costs, all of their liabilities under one subsidiary. And then they put our retirees in that subsidiary. Then they say, we're bankrupt as a company, yet their global profits and their global success is unprecedented in 2011. Brothers and sisters, if this is the kind of Canada that we want, is this the kind of Canada that we want, where we can say to our retirees that have put sweat and tears on deferred payments, by the way, brothers and sisters, they didn't give us these benefits. They didn't say to the members of 1451, you worked so hard, you're entitled to it. Every set of negotiations, we allocated money out of our money to make sure that retirees were taken care of long-term, not short-term. So they're taking our money and utilizing our resources to cut the benefits off for retirees and using the laws of bankruptcy to get around their obligations. So I'm damn pissed, brothers and sisters. I'm pissed at this corporation. I'm pissed at the kind of response we get from government. But what I'm not pissed at is our ability to mobilize. As I just said to Jerry, and I want to thank Mike Devine, his committee that stays active. They've been active since the workplace closure, defending their members, trying to find opportunities for those that need work, and protecting retirees retirees that need the services of the CAW. They're doing an incredible job. What I want to say to all of you here today, we are in the middle of boondocks. We come here to talk to Tyson Croup. This was their employer. Our next demonstration is going to be in a couple weeks, and it's going to be on Bay Street. And we're going to shut down the city of Toronto, and we're going to send a message to the folks on Bay Street that they can't have their way every single day without the voices of workers and those most vulnerable in society. And my last remarks is this, brothers and sisters. I thought about it this morning while I was driving down here. In the last year, let me tell you where we're at. I'm going to ask you, is this the kind of nation we want?
No.
At General Motors, Fords, and Chryslers, we're working our ass off to try to preserve health care benefits for our retirees through a health care trust. Now, brothers and sisters, it's controversial at best. But the reality is, if we can establish the health care trust, it's money that's in the trust that the employers can't take away. Yesterday, I'm in an arbitration case with Air Canada. And what's the arbitration case? Whether future retirees can be part of a defined benefit plan or not. Last week, we were at a demonstration on Sandvex where the employer wants to take cost of living payments away from workers. In the last couple of months, we have spent a lot of time and effort on retirees of our union. And the facts of the matter is they deserve our respect, they deserve our solidarity, they deserve our activism in the workplaces we represent, both public and private sector, because in many ways they have built this country. In many ways they have raised the expectations of generations before them. So we owe it to the retirees to fight back. And to those retirees that are out there today watching the news and saying, geez, we don't get health care benefits. Why should they worry about it? Why should I worry about those workers at Tyson Croup? I say to those workers that the unions, the labor movement, the progressives, our coalition partners are out there fighting every day to improve Canada pension, to raise your standard of living equal to unionized workers. We don't fight in isolation. We're out here fighting like hell for you. I say to those folks that are out there today saying that CAW and them steelworkers are out of touch. Brothers and sisters, where would we be without the labor movement today? Where would our voices be without the activism, without the participation, without the hands of solidarity? What would this government do without the voices of the labor movement? So brothers and sisters, I know it's tough on our members today. I know it's tough on our active members to fight the boss today because of their insecurities and because of the threat that the boss could close them down on any given day. I recognize the pressures in the workplace. But at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, if we line up in a hand of solidarity with the generations before us, with the existing workforce today, which means all the leadership that's here today, and we build the confidence in our membership base that we can fight and win. Because brothers and sisters, we are fighting and we're winning the odd battle. But can you imagine where we'd be if we weren't fighting? Can you imagine where we'd be if we were just not naive and let somebody else fight for us? Nobody's going to fight for us, brothers and sisters. We have to fight for the members of 1451. We have to fight for a local union that's helped build the CAW into the kind of union we are today, which is a union that gives a shit about the generation before us and the generation in front of us. So one more time, I want to say to you, on behalf of the CAW, on behalf of the labor movement, on behalf of those most vulnerable that need the voice of the CAW, you are the voice. The power of the people can't be stopped. It may take us a little while longer to win victory, but as long as we march, as long as we protest, as long as we demonstrate, as long as we use the power of the labor movement to influence positive change, we will win. The only question is when. So don't get down. On behalf of your union, the CAW, I want to thank all of the affiliates that are here today. I want to thank the retirees that are here. I want to thank the Ontario Federation of Labour, the Canadian Labour Congress for being here today. I want to thank each and every one of you for participating in the fight for democracy, the fight for human rights, labor rights, because I think when you leave the workforce and the boss says you got benefits to life, I think when they take it away, It's a human right violation, not just a labor right violation, a human right violation. So last but not least, brothers and sisters, thank you very much for mobilizing, for energizing the CAW. Because Ken Lewenza, Jerry Dias, Jenny On, all of the staff that are here today can't win this fight in isolation. But we can win it when we have the confidence that our members are behind us. And the history of 1451 is no better history in our union. And I want to commit to the retirees of 1451 that our union, many National Executive Board members that are here today, many, are going to continue to defend your interests. Put as much resources in as we possibly can. But more important than resources, we're going to use our human potential to change the course of this country. So brothers and sisters, thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you for energizing me one more time. Thank you for putting a stamp on your union. Mike Devine, thank you in Local 1451 for fighting another fight that you never expected to fight 2 years ago, but we're going to join hand in hand with you to beat this goddamn company and any other company that attacks working men and women in this country. Thank you very much.